What's going on, everyone? We're going to continue, and by continue I mean finish up our water-cooled Halo 5 Xbox One. We need to finish up our pump flow meter bracket, which I have started here. You can see it is basically in place, but we do need to finish up some things on it, and I want to add a bunch of kind of padded stuff that you can stick on, as well as just regular foam tape type of thing. Just as much as we can around this bracket to absorb as much vibrations and sounds as we can. And then we need to finish up a couple of wiring harnesses. We need to splice some UV LEDs into this one, our temperature display into our hard drive cable, which is not right here right now, and our fan cable. We just need to put two 3-pin connectors on it so that we can plug our pump and our fan on top. And by then our last couple of fittings should show up so we can finish up the inside, get this whole thing completely together, and pour some water in it. So stay tuned. Alright, I made this. So, kind of reinforced it here on the sides because we cut a lot of the middle section out, but it's not touching any of that. I added this extra brace on the front here, even though it's mostly held up by this one. And yeah, just added a bunch of that padding I had left over, filled in all these spots, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's going to sit obviously right here, and that should line up pretty perfectly with our reservoir. This should line up good with where we wanted the flow meter to sit, and the rest should just line up good with our drain port access hole and all that other stuff. So before we can actually put this in, we need to actually deal with the wiring. So kind of messing around with, like I said, we're trying to use this one, and really the only reasoning was, I mean, this is just way too long anyway. It already had these cables on it, which was nice, but this also had a 90-degree SATA on that side, which I thought would help out a lot, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think we're just going to splice into this one. This should reach that same spot just fine, and technically that port should be over here. It shouldn't really be in the way anyway, so I don't think we'll use that one. And we'll just splice into these wires for our temperature display, which means this kind of has to sit over to this side in order for these to reach, so we can put our Wi-Fi module on this side, and with that we might not even have to extend the cables for the Wi-Fi module either. A little farther along here, so we now have a custom bracket with some random hardware I was able to find to mount our Wi-Fi module kind of sideways here. It should still be low enough. It's lower than the pump and everything else, so it shouldn't hit anything. And we've got that cable. We had to solder that in because the connector was missing on that end. It still comes over here, plugs in. We've got our speaker over here on the front, and then we are in the process of kind of hiding our wiring for the monitor to go around the outside, so it can be right here. And we've got that wired in to our hard drive cable, and we're going to use the factory ones here. These should still fit here and here with our hard drive mounted right about here. We had to trim a little bit of this bracket so this can sit all the way up against here, and we drilled a hole down there obviously to mount that bracket. We also use a DVD drive cable from a Slim actually, which already had the two wires we needed in a different color, so we just spliced in there, 12 volt and ground, and that's going here to our UV LED strip on this side and the other one on this side. Last bit of cabling we need to take care of, we need to go ahead and cut this off of here, and we're going to put two 3-pin connectors that are somewhere. There we go. We've got two here. We're basically going to connect these together, and this is also where we're going to wire in our UV LED, our single one that's going to go into the top of here. And I kind of wanted that one wired in with the pump and fan because, you know, when your system turns off, it might keep the fan on for a little while, which in this case will be our fan and pump, and we'll also keep this indicator light on basically here that lets you know it's still pumping. Also going to go ahead and mount our radiator and fan, and then we'll deal with the windows here. We also got our decal that we're going to put about right here, and hopefully that same color that sort of matches that blue accent. And my last fittings were supposed to be here today, but they got delayed, of course, a couple days. So I'm going to be back as soon as I get that wiring harness made. That plugs in right here. And we actually have the fittings to finish the inside here. Got our harness made here. This plugs in to the fan connector. We've got two 3-pin connectors on it and our UV LED that will go underneath. Plug into a plug here, which is also coming with one of the orders I don't have yet. Our wiring is completely done. Let's get this stuff plugged in, get it all tucked away. I'm running out of things to do while I wait on those fittings, but we can go ahead and get our fan and radiator mounted to the top piece and get the windows made for that. So now that we got all the wiring taken care of, we've got all of our windows in place. Above here, we've got sanded ones behind the letters, obviously nothing over the O. Even got this here, which is what we're going to use, and we also got a decal going here that's going to go underneath here. We're not trying to show off the hard drive sticker, just like that. Got our decal here. So now we've got it roughly in place. We're not going to clip it down yet, but we need to get our reservoir in place. This is the last part of the loop. So, like I said, I just want this to be lined up to where it's going to be, so that this will be mounted exactly. How is this happening? Need this to be perfectly in place on this mount on the bottom. You can see it's a little bit on an angle, so we're going to need to adjust that a little bit. We'll probably have to push that bracket out just a hair, because it looks like it's either hitting the LEDs or the screws on there. Now obviously this is on a bit of an angle, so when this is level it's going to be a little bit better, but we still need to tweak it out just a tiny bit. We finally got our package in. One fitting and our LED plug for the flow meter and a couple of these fan filters. Got them to throw in an extra one because they did not have the blue that I ordered, which honestly probably would have matched this perfectly, which really stinks. But I need one of these for the R2-D2 build. We'll get into that in another video. So one of these will be for this one. I might even kind of mix and match them. They're kind of two pieces there. Okay, we've got our adhesive on our mount there. We've got our top shell not clipped into place, but exactly lined up in place. So we can now lower this in place and attach it to our adhesive. That way it's exactly where we need it to be. Then we can take the shell back off. Solidly in place. Now, normally I wouldn't like to just use adhesive on the bottom, but one, this will be attached right here, and this on the other side, and when the shell's in place, this simply just can't go anywhere. This reservoir also doesn't have any sort of like M4 screw mounting holes or anything like that to begin with. But I could also go a straight connection, like an extension from here to here, but the whole point of doing the fittings with a little bit of tubing is to help isolate as much of the vibrations as possible from the pump getting anywhere else, which is also why we've got the adhesive here. It's not actually touching anything else, just that. So let's go ahead and put this one in place, and then to get this tube installed, we will have to move this around a little bit. That's why I haven't really installed it yet. It is also worth noting, no, this is not 5/16 tubing. God, this hair gets everywhere. This is the 3/8 tubing. And normally you obviously don't want to change sizes throughout your loop. That's not good. But just going from the reservoir to the pump, I'm not worried about that at all. It would be the same as going a direct fitting like this from here to here. That would actually be an even bigger size technically than the 3/8. Also, the 3/8 tubing is very, very close to the 5/16. But this is the only spot that we're going to do that because we also have the perfect amount of fittings to finish this off, and so I have to do that. And to get our plug in place, and it's going to be a very tight fit. I had to even put a smaller O-ring on there. It came with a very thick one. This is also thicker than it needs to be, but this is like the only one I could find that isn't like a tower plug that would stick all the way in here and be a problem. So let's put this in, hopefully slide this in and have just enough room. Got cable ties on everything. I like to do that on the inside at the very least, so we know, especially on the elbows here. But I just did it on everything, so we need to trim all those, double checked all the fittings, everything is tight. Everything seems good to go. Last thing we got to do is set it on top one last time just to make sure this is in the right spot. And I've got it backed with the rest of the acrylic I had so that we could just attach it here without worrying about making another stand on this side. But we just need to get that in place. Once that's set, we can actually set it on for the last time. Okay, our top piece is fully ready to go. Our bottom piece is fully ready to go. Let's go ahead and pair the two and get ready for some water. A little more clearancing. There we go. I didn't actually show plugging in these other tubes. It has been a long day, but we saw how that thread was sticking through the hole there. I then just screwed this cube on there, then screwed this on there, plugged these in, stuck this in through the side as we saw, tightened it up, and then of course put the last fitting on here and plugged this stuff in there. So, very last thing, and I promise is the last thing before adding some water, the faceplate. I have not messed with it at all since I've gotten it. We're going to go ahead and take this sticker off, and it needs a nice thorough cleaning. Oh yeah, that's way cooler without that. Missing out on some of that design down there. Alright, let's get it cleaned up. With the faceplate cleaned up, we're actually going to wait to plug that in. We're going to pour some water in it first, make sure there's no leaks, then we can plug that in and power it up. Okay, here we are in the dark. Yes, there's a piece of tape, making sure the faceplate doesn't fall off, because once you click that in, you have to take the whole thing apart to get it out. It has turned on briefly. When you plug the power cable in, it obviously spins the fan and pump a little bit, but I have not actually turned it on yet. Okay, I was worried about the UV lights. Beautiful. It looks like that's going to be our only issue. And these flow meters are just very finicky to begin with. I'm sure once I can kind of get it to start spinning, it should be good. The same thing happened on this one, where it just barely wanted to spin, but I kept tapping it, and now it spins no problem turning on and off. So I don't know. That is sick. I love the way that comes through. And that's because we just used regular printer paper, laminated it, and then put the clear plexiglass behind it, so it's still allowing light to come through. Obviously lots of light in our reservoir. That looks fantastic. You can see the light, or the fan glowing from the UV light through here. You can get a little bit of that through the Xbox One logo. And of course the light here that shows you that there's no water flowing, but there definitely is water flowing. So, and yes, this light is a little bright, but we're going to dump a whole bunch of UV fluid in here, and we may even try to get some blue if I have regular blue, just to tint it a little bit. But there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, see if I can get this thing to spin, and do some more testing. We'll have a full reveal video showing it together without tape on it and giant gaps, and of course our side panel on this side here. And I need to check the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But it's time to end this video. I know it's only been 15 or 20 minutes for you guys, but this single video has been like over a week in the making. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not like, comment, or subscribe to my channel.